What's the best whole home solar power solution? What about converting a mini split to solar power? Is it possible to expand a plug-in solar system that's limited to only 1200 watts? And can we hack an EcoFlow power station to make it even more powerful and robust? We're answering all of those and more in this next community questions answered video. If you're building a new house and you want it completely independent, but you have to hook it up to the grid, would you go hybrid inverter and battery? What would your start from scratch setup look like? That is a fantastic question. And I have two recommendations depending on how much money you have. Option number one, and would be the most expensive, but I feel is the most capable and flexible setup. That would be pairing the EG4 GridBoss with one of the FlexBoss 21 units. Obviously, you can expand that to multiple FlexBoss units if you want to. So just one of these FlexBoss 21 units is going to give you a full 50 amps of service when it's running only on battery. And if you add some PV power to that, it can provide up to 16 kilowatts, combining battery power and PV power. But I feel the GridBoss is really the secret sauce to making this work because it's going to provide you the full interface with the grid that you were talking about, right? So it's going to give you your service disconnect for the grid. It will allow you to manually bypass the entire, inverter setup or whatever if need be. It can interface, with backup generators. And my personal favorite are these 4 smart ports up here. That allows you to interface with AC coupled solar if you want, or just kind of triage and turn things off and on based on your solar input. So wire a EV charger to one of these, and then wire like a mini split air conditioner for your garage to another one, and then set it up in the software so that once your batteries get to say 95% state of charge, then it kicks on the EV charger and starts dumping excess solar power into your EV. And then if that fills up, then it starts dumping power to a mini split in your garage or something like that. It really makes using your power that you're generating off your solar be able to be used effectively and in an automatic way, as opposed to just, clipping it or something like that. And then obviously this also gives you the opportunity to sell back to the grid potentially due to the hybrid nature of the inverter if you want to jump through the hoops and make that happen. Now my favorite budget offering is the EG4 12000 XP or something along these lines. I have a little bit of a spoiler alert. In a video here coming up in a couple of weeks, I'm going to be showing you an inverter that competes directly with the 12000 XP and in some aspects beats the 12000 XP. So you might be excited to see that. But for now, let's just talk about the 12000 XP. This is what I have in my own home. It has a 100 amp transfer switch built in, right? So if you've got a standard 200 amp service, you're going to need 2 of these together to get the full, 200 amp pass through. But you basically get the same off-grid power output using the 12000 XP that you do with the FlexBoss 21. And in fact, the 12000 XP can accept even more solar. It can go up to 24,000 watts of solar as opposed to just 21,000 watts. But this is not compatible with, the GridBoss. It cannot sell back to the power grid, and it becomes a little more challenging to make this interface with a 200 amp grid service. But pricing is night and day different. A single 12000 XP, which basically gives you everything you need as far as the inverter goes and everything, $1,871.50. Combining the FlexBoss 21 and the GridBoss, you're over $5,000 right there, right? $5,200 and something dollars. So you can get 2 12000 XPs for your 200 amp pass-through, and you're still going to come out money ahead versus getting the FlexBoss setup. Now, pro tip for you, regardless of which one you're going to buy, if you're going to buy any EG4 products, be sure and take advantage of Payoff Solar and my coupon codes here, okay? I've added all 3 of these to the cart. Not that you're going to buy all 3, but I just want to show you the pricing. With my discount code, TRICK5, you get free shipping, tax-free purchase, $7,106 total. Contrast that to Signature Solar. We've got the 12000 XP here, and then this is their bundle of the FlexBoss 21 and the GridBoss. There might be like a $50 coupon code you can find floating around out there online. They currently do have a promotion of free shipping, which is fantastic. They are going to charge you tax, so you're going to pay $7,891 for the same cart as I had over at payoff solar. So going with payoff solar is going to save you, what, like $700, 700 plus bucks saving going with payoff solar versus signature solar. And want to know the clincher? Payoff solar actually just drop ships products from signature solar. So when you get your order, it actually is going to say it shipped from signature solar. So anyway, not exactly sure how it's all working, but payoff solar is definitely the place to take advantage of the best pricing, hands down, for EG4 products. I'll be sure and leave a link for them down in the description. This is from my DIY 48 volt power system for beginners video. I'm thinking of a similar setup to power a mini split independently of my grid power. If I did that, I wouldn't need the inverter with the transfer switch I saw. 3080 watt Jumpa inverter for $179. Would that work? Certainly an off-grid inverter would work, but I have a consideration for you. So this is the video the comment was left on, and I just built this very simple, basic 48 volt system. And the viewer's wondering if they could use an inverter similar to this one that I use, slightly different, to plug in a mini split and run it off-grid. And you absolutely can, so long as you have a boatload of solar to be sure and see that mini split through, or be willing to manually plug in this charger when the mini split runs out of juice or whatever from the batteries when the sun isn't shining good. To me, that feels a little bit of a hassle. I'm a huge fan of DIY system. For the mini split in particular, the hack that I came up with I think is the better option. Let me show you that. And that's this hack right here. So this is a 120 volt mini split heat pump. You can see its cable right here that I wired up, and it just plugs into a standard 120 volt outlet. But instead of a DIY power system, I am using, in this case, a Blue Eddy power station. It doesn't really matter what brand of power station, so long as it has enough inverter power, that is, to run the mini split, and has decent, solar input. But here's the thing that makes a portable power station like this more powerful for a mini split, I think. You get all the benefits of running it off solar power, but the power stations usually come with some kind of app control and built-in automation. So you can program it to prioritize the PV power first, right? But then when the battery gets down to say like 10% state of charge, you can program it so that it is plugged in to a standard outlet in your house, and the power station will automatically switch over to grid power and keep your mini split running until the solar is sufficient again, and then it will switch back over to off-grid mode. It's a little more challenging to automate this DIY system like that, so that your mini split basically runs indefinitely with the priority given to solar power. Hopefully that makes sense. And I will leave a link to this video down in the description so you guys can check it out a little more in depth, because it worked really, really well. My question is twofold. Can you use the EcoFlow Smart Generator adapter with the setup you described above with the MPPT controller, breaker, and panels in one port while using the other extra battery port to supply the third-party watt cycle battery? It is the same question with the Delta 2 Max. Can you use one extra battery port with the MPPT setup while you use the second extra battery port for the third-party battery? Actually, I think I've got super good news for you that adds even more functionality than what you're inquiring about. So if you guys haven't seen how I've hacked EcoFlow power station and added cheap third-party expansion batteries, you need to check it out. I'll leave a link for some of those videos. In fact, my entire playlist of power station hack down in the description. You can check it out. But in this video, I show how you can attach an external high power MPPT solar charge controller, as well as add these third-party, much cheaper expansion batteries, as opposed to buying OEM EcoFlow expansion batteries. And if I understood the question correctly, you were hoping to be able to connect this high power MPPT solar charge controller into one of the extra battery ports on the EcoFlow, and then connect these third-party batteries into another port. The answer is yes, but here's the better way to do it. Go ahead and do the hack with the third-party expansion batteries. Get at least one. And then here's the good news. This MPPT solar charge controller actually will connect directly to the expansion battery. So it actually does not need to connect directly to the EcoFlow. So go ahead and connect this up to your expansion batteries. So now you've got your third-party batteries as well as your third-party MPPT solar charge controller just coming in on one of the ports. That leaves the second port available for any additional accessories you may want to plug in. For example, here I've got the third-party expansion batteries in port number 1. And you can see down here in the bottom right, I've actually got the alternator charger, and it's plugged into port number 2. So now all of a sudden you can have an alternator charger, or the EcoFlow smart generator, plus cheap third-party expansion batteries, plus a high-powered external MPPT solar charge controller. So yeah, the world really opens up to you when you do this hack with EcoFlows. Plug-in solar systems are being limited to 1200 watt systems. What prevents homeowners from exceeding the 1200 watt limit as long as they don't backfeed any power to the grid? There's really 2 restrictions, I guess technically 3. And the first one is obvious. A lot of the laws and stuff are just requiring 1200 watt systems maximum. But the reason they're doing that is for the 2 reasons that I'm about to explain. So if you can, circumvent these safely, yeah, technically you don't have anything preventing you from doing a larger system. So this is in my breaker panel here. And the first restriction that you have is just the size of your circuit, right? So if you're plugging your solar into an outlet, that's either going to be a 15 amp or a 20 amp circuit. It needs to be a dedicated circuit, but obviously you're limited to how much power you can continuously feed on that wire without overloading it, right? So that's restriction number 1. Now let's just pretend that you had 5 dedicated circuits, or had the capability of having, just tons of dedicated circuits. Then the other issue is actually the physical bus bars in your panel. You can see that silver thing here at the back of my breaker panel. That is the bus bar. The bus bars actually have a rating, and if you've got grid power coming in off the top here, and then you're feeding solar power in on top of that, and let's say that this is a 100 amp breaker panel, so our main breaker here is a 100 amp breaker. For easy math, let's just say we've got 20 amps worth of solar power coming in, and let's say that between all of these other circuits in the panel, I'm pulling exactly 120 amps of electricity. But now if your bus bars are only rated for, let's say, 100 amps, they're rated for more, but stick with me for easy math here, and we're pulling 120 amp, technically that bus bar is now overloaded. But the breaker that is supposed to protect it for an overload situation is only seeing 100 amps because the other 20 amps is coming in off the solar. And so nothing's tripping, and your breaker panel bus bar is just sitting there getting hotter and hotter and hotter as it sits there in an overloaded situation. So you really don't want to overload your circuit breaker bus bar. There's a sticker inside all breaker panels to tell you the amp rating of your bus bar, and you can run some simple calculations. There's some online calculators and stuff that'll tell you exactly maximum amount of solar you can feed into your panel. So that's your other restriction when it comes to expanding the system beyond just 1200 watts. Guys, a huge thank you to all your questions in the comment. I love doing these question and answer videos. It's so much fun, so keep them coming. With that said, however, don't forget that in the descriptions of all my videos, there are links to where you can submit a guaranteed to be answered question by me, book a 1-hour one-on-one video consultation, as well as just search your questions on my 100% free to use YouTube channel search engine. So maybe you're curious about the plug-in solar limit. Plug that question in and it will surface every video, including timestamps to specific parts where I mention anything pertaining to your specific query. So powerful, and everyone's really been enjoying it. So take advantage of all of those resources down in the description. I got so many cool videos in the pipeline, you guys, that you're not going to want to miss. So be sure and be subscribed. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and hype on your way out. Thank you to all of you who do that on a regular basis, as well as a huge thanks to all my channel members for your continued help and generous support to the channel. All of you stay safe, stay tuned for more, and we'll catch y'all next time.